Taped. Anyone not wishing to be seen on television may be excused. Can we all stand for the Pledge of Allegiance?
That was good. Ooh, I'm like right there.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Okay, we do not have any presentations tonight, so we're all going to go right to number C, which is discussion items. I'll have Dr. Hibbs begin with the 2026-2027 district calendar.
Hi, everybody. And if you want to take a look at this, it's actually under the report of the superintendent, number 6. So, a few things. We had to adjust the calendar for one reason, and we entered into discussions about revising it for another reason. So the first reason was we honestly just made a mistake in counting days, and we were 1 day short for students at 179. We ended up having the right number of days on the calendar, but unfortunately, where you see student days, we had the wrong number. So in doing that, what's going to happen is that there's only one snow day built into the calendar. And what will happen is that that one snow day will be June 17th, which is Thursday, and then June 18th, we have to be closed for Juneteenth. And what that will mean is that the next poll will be President's Day on February 15th, and then it will go backwards on spring break from Friday the 2nd, God bless you, to Tuesday the 30th. If we have to go back further, we will not take Holy Monday, but we will tack days on to the end of the year. So we will, if the calendar is approved tonight, we will communicate that. The other thing that we did in receiving feedback, we went a different route than the committee decided for conferences. And what we did, we went back to the usual way of conferences, which is a full day and 2 half days. So differences between the calendar that had been approved and this calendar, February 5th will change from a full day professional development day to a half professional development day, half day. Tuesday, October 27th will change from a half day to a full day dedicated to parent-teacher conferences for grades pre-K through 5. Students in grades preschool through 12 will not be in session, and the staff in grades 6 through 12 will have an all-day in-service day. Wednesday the 28th and Thursday the 29th will remain half days for conferences, and Friday, October 30th will then change back from a half day to a full day. So in doing this, we adjust the calendar for the missed day, and we also took feedback on conferences as members of the leadership team came in to express just some concerns. So that's the district calendar conversation.
Yeah.
Okay.
Pat,
Yes.
I have a question.
Sure.
Okay. First off, we don't have the actual calendar. You're just telling us, right? I'm looking on my computer. I don't see the calendar come up.
It's in there.
It's under the report of the superintendent, number 6.
Oh, I saw 26, 27 district calendar. I clicked on that and it didn't come up.
No, report of the superintendent.
Okay.
Keep scrolling down.
Okay. All right. Here's my concern. Let's see if I heard you correctly.
Okay.
You're talking about snow days. Are you taking a snow day from Memorial Day?
On Memorial Day, so that would be the 28th through the 31st. No, we did not do that.
Okay. Did I hear you correctly that you said that you're going to take President's Day?
That is the second day.
I have a problem with that because our teachers, by legislation, okay, they can take that day off. We can't close the school and tell our teachers they have. In other words, that's their day. Like I don't know why when we're not doing Memorial Day, the Friday before Memorial Day, rather than President's Day.
So that Friday before Memorial Day is right around prom.
Right.
That's why we leave that alone. That's characteristically just culture.
Okay, so you're saying that the next day the kids have off? Okay, that makes sense, okay. The prom is Thursday?
Yes.
Prom is Thursday,
Okay.
yeah. And then typically everyone goes to the beach for the
Okay,
weekend.
Okay. All right. That
Anybody,
settles that.
any other
I'm okay
questions
with that part.
about the calendar? No? Okay, we'll move on to strategic planning.
The Strategic Planning Committee last month viewed presentations from 2 potential vendors to do our strategic plan, which was one of our board goals. After the presentations, we met and discussed and looked at the different prices and the value that was offered. And tonight, we're recommending under the finance agenda, number 26, a company called Teach for Results. The woman who runs the company is Dr. Tracy Severns. She has done a lot of work with people in our district already, I think mainly administrators and teachers. She has been a paraprofessional and has worked every single job that you could have in a school district and even worked for the Department of Ed. But what we like more than her resume and all of that was that she has a way of meeting with every single student at every single grade level. So children, in the presentation, we saw pictures of other districts where she worked, where children from kindergarten to 3rd grade were doing coloring sheets. What do you like about school? What would you want to change about school? And so it's age appropriate all the way up. She obtains that data, we're calling it, or she calls it, and then presents that to the district. She meets with every teacher when they're willing to meet during the school day or after the school day. And again, it's every single person. There's parent meetings. There are, then she, aggregates all that data, triangulates it, and puts the plan on the page, and can even help with facilitation. So that is going to be voted on tonight and is for the contracts for your review under Finance N26. Does anyone have any questions? And this is coming in about $4,000 more than our last strategic plan, which was 10 years ago. So it's pretty on par.
Okay, no questions about that? Okay, I'm going to move on to, we have talked about, as a board, trying to come up with the board calendar a little bit early. We usually do that at the reorganization meeting. Our rationale for that is this is the time of the year when calendars are being made up for school activities, such as powder puff or whatever else the activities are. And we're thinking if we at least have a calendar ready to go, that might help to not have other activities on board nights if possible. I'm sure it won't always be possible, but when possible, that would be helpful rather than switching board meetings around. So I'd like to get the board's thoughts on that. I have a nice little calendar out here for 26, 27. If we want to just try to pencil in a calendar for Dr. Hibbs to be able to share with all of our clubs and other organizations in the district so they have an idea of what we have going on for the 27, I guess it's through 28 school year, or 27, 26, 27, yeah, school year. Anybody agree, disagree? Okay, so in January, the first meeting that we always have is a reorganization meeting. And there's a certain date that has to be held by, I think the 6th, but I'm not sure. Do you know, Janine?
So in looking at the calendar for us, I think it would be on the 5th, January 5th,
That's
that
when-
first Tuesday.
Okay, so that would work within the constraints of
Yes,
the
it
timing?
would, yes.
Okay, so let's do, if everybody's okay, let's pencil in January 5th for reorganization. And then we have 2 meetings in January, so I assume that they would be held on the 19th and the 26th. That's the 3rd and the 4th Tuesday in January. Anybody keeping up with this with me? Okay. Then February, it looks like It would be on the 16th and the 23rd. Dr. Hibbs, in March, is there anything that we do specific because of the budget as far as a calendar goes, or does it just go according to trying to do the third and the fourth week?
Yeah, so in March, what we have to work around is when the deadline for submitting the tentative budget. That's
Okay.
usually around March 20th.
Okay,
So sometimes we have to have our work session a little bit earlier so we can approve the tentative budget. I don't have the schedule, but I'm thinking it would most likely be due possibly on the 19th,
okay, so we would probably want to go for
16th,
Tuesday, the 16th,
right?
correct?
And then we could, for the regular session, we could either do the 23rd or the 30th.
I think 30th is spring break.
Oh,
Oh,
is it?
well,
Okay.
that helps, that
Easter is
helps.
early this year.
Okay, so we would do then the 16th and the 23rd of March.
If we have to have the budget by the 19th, is there a reason not to do it the 9th in case we need an extra week and an additional meeting? I'm just asking, because I feel like we had 2 before this year, or maybe that was like a retreat, you know what I mean?
I think the retreats would be separate
Okay.
from this.
Yeah, I think the retreats would be separate, and then I guess the issue with being completely ready by the 9th is that we don't get state aid until, maybe a week and a half before that. And when we approve the budget, we have, like, every single detail has to be finalized. That's not to say we couldn't add, a work session or some, if the board
Yeah.
wanted to discuss more, but I think the 16th and the 23rd would be better.
Okay, everybody okay with that? And then if we go on to April, I would assume we would be doing the 20th and the 27th. That's the last 2 Tuesdays in April. Now, do we need anything at a different time in April because of approval of the budget?
No, because the 27th, normally, again, we don't have the budget calendar yet, but normally
Okay.
that falls within the time we have
Okay.
to have our public
Okay,
hearings.
thank you. And then for May, we would do, Memorial Day is, I'm not sure, is that?
The 31st.
20, what is
Yeah,
it?
It's, we're off from the 28th to the 31st.
Okay. Okay, so that wouldn't impact the meeting. We would do, I guess, the 18th and the 25th.
So I just want to, the May meeting, the work session, we usually have earlier because it has to be prior to the 15th for staff
Perfect.
renewals.
Okay, all right, that's good information to know. So if it has to be prior to the 15th,
11th and 25th.
we'd probably go the 11th and the 25th. Yep. And then for June, this June, we had 1 meeting, and July, we had 1 meeting. I personally would like to start with 2. We can always cancel one as it gets closer. You guys, whatever, can cancel it. But I felt like that was a detriment this month with all the things that go on with hiring in the summer. I don't know that that was really a good idea. That's just my opinion. I don't know what anybody else thinks.
I agree, we should have 2 in June and July.
Anybody else?
I mean, I think it's, I think it's a good idea and conservative to schedule it, and then if we get closer to the date and feel like we can handle it with just one session, there's nothing to stop us from changing it.
Okay, because this year was different, unique, because we had a lot of major hires this summer. It's not saying that we'll have them next summer, but at least we'll have that option if we need it. So being that that's the case, what is the graduation date? That's not, what day of the week is that tentatively? I mean, I want to avoid anything to do with graduation.
We haven't had any conversations about that yet.
Is it usually the last week of school, like the Thursday of the last week of school?
Can we just pencil 2 in and we'll go from there? 22 and 29, I think, yes. And then for July, it would be the 20th and the 27th. For August, it would be the 23rd, I'm sorry, the 24th and the 31st. For September, it would be the 21st and the 28th.
Again, I know we don't have the school calendar yet, but is that a potentially like one of, like, or we came back before Labor Day this year, so I'm just saying, should we do the 6th, or sorry, the 17th and the 24th?
Is
in
that what
case
we
that-
did this year?
Oh, I don't know.
Oh, back to August?
Yes.
Yes. Right, like potentially, like teachers might be back, right? Like Labor Day is 6th, like, so it's that same late thing where we're coming back before Labor Day, so potentially that could be like the first week of school, just saying. Right, in theory.
So this year, what are the dates of them?
In theory, it could be.
So what do you suggest, Terry?
For this
so I-
year, it's the 15th and the 22nd.
Yeah.
So we could do,
So the 16th,
This-
the 17th and the 24th is what
all
I'm
right,
saying.
17th and 24th? Okay. All right, that's a good suggestion. September, I'm not sure if there's a Jewish holiday.
I can,
It,
no, Yom Kippur, well, when's Rosh Hashanah?
Our dates would
Rosh
be the-
Hashanah is October 2nd.
Okay.
Yom Kippur isn't on this list.
Yom Kippur is when?
I think Yom Kippur is the second on the calendar.
So would the 21st and 28th not be an issue?
Those
Okay,
should be-
21st and 28th.
Friday, September 11th, and ends at nightfall on Sunday, 13th.
All right, so we'll stick with the 21st and the 28th. October would be the 18th and 25th.
That's the 19th and the
I'm
26th.
sorry, yeah, the 19th and 26th.
So we have to, school board's conference.
Oh, okay. That could involve the school board conference.
Wait, that would be,
School board conference, I think is the 24th,
in
is
the
it?
board. Well, that would be 2027. The 19th through the 22nd. is the
Okay, so we
workshop.
don't want to do that. So we would maybe have to do the 12th and the 26th?
October.
How's that sound? And for November, this month we only have one meeting, it's on the 17th. So we're going to go with one meeting with the 16th for November? That work for everybody? Okay, and then for December, we have two meetings, and I would think that they would be the 14th and the 21st. Okay? And if Dr. Hibbs and Janine, if you can just let us know along the way how that's working for the activities that are scheduled too along the way. As I said, we may not be able to avoid all of them, but maybe we can avoid some of them because board members have children involved in them as well. And the fourth thing that we're going to discuss is our board goals. We're going to be working on them and have a presentation the last meeting in August. And we had help from New Jersey School Board Association, and I think that this has really helped this year to fine tune. What we're always missing is indicators for success. We sit here and say, well, yeah, I think we did that. Well, yeah, that sounds good, we did that. This is much more fine tuned as far as how you show that you've accomplished that goal. So I'm going to send to all board members, thanks to Lori, again, the board goals, and I'm hoping to have them up so that you can see them at the meeting in August. I personally think that they should be up at every meeting. I don't know if we can work on that, because they shouldn't just be something that you put away. But there's also a sheet for all the board members that really fine-tunes how you show your goal, so you'll be all getting them too. And what I'm hoping is, one of the major things for one of the goals is whatever activities you took place that you went to this year, I was bad, I didn't send it every month, Lori, you know that, but I just sent her a list of what I did throughout the year, and I included New Jersey School Board activities, I included, activities in the school district, and I also included fundraisers. Some of us went to some fundraisers, like for project graduation, Dreams Come True. I went to the Cupcake Wars, yeah, so those I would include too, not just the specific activities. What I did, if I wasn't sure of the specific date, I put down the month, and just so we have, and all we want to do is just be able to tell the public the types of activities that we all participated in this year, to show that we are trying to take that seriously. So you'll be getting that in a few, maybe as soon as Lori gets it together. So that's why I'm sending you that, and also included in that, we want to make sure that I want to talk to each of the committees and go over what in your committee you could give to me before the end of the month to provide data on how we obtain those goals. For example, there are some things in business, I don't go to the business meetings, so I might need some help with that. The others aren't that involved, but that's one I know, Scott, I may need some help with that. But that will be coming out to you before committee meetings so that you can discuss that in committee meetings and get that back to me. I'd like to have everything back by the work session, so then I have that week to work on it for anything that we need up on the screens and stuff. So that will be coming. The other thing is the board calendar that I talked about for 3 years and have not yet accomplished. I have a tentative calendar. What I need is 2 people. I think it was Terry what was going to be involved, and I think it was Linda, or was it Elaine? You, Elaine? Could we maybe sit down sometime next week or the following week, come up with a date that we come over here and we go over it? And Dr. Hibbs, could you maybe be at that meeting too? So come up with a date that we can go over so that we have, at least by that date, one to present, to be voted on, to see if that would work, because that will go along with the goals at the end of the month. So I'd like to work on that. So that's the last thing I have for board discussions. Anything else? Yes.
Yep. Pat, I think I remember the board discussing, now that we have, thank you for the work that you did, that we have the dates established for the board meetings. I know the administration now during the summer, they're doing the calendar, because we had a lot of issues where activities were going on during board meeting dates.
Correct.
Where board members missed opportunities to watch their children or grandchildren. So I'm just wondering if is there a report we have that we're making sure that no activities in the schools are going on during board meeting dates?
Yeah, I can't promise that no activities will go on during board meeting dates, but I will definitely talk with the admin at retreat about hopefully keeping all big events off of that. We're too big to say that we have to, we can block off entirely, but we'll do our very best.
Okay, so then if you have activities going on during board meeting dates, can you provide us with a report which activities will be going on during our board meeting dates, so we can discuss it if we have a problem?
I think we had talked, Lori, about maybe we're going to go through the activities for each month. Lori had done that for us at the end of the year, and that was really helpful. And so maybe every month, the beginning of the month, maybe she can email that out, and then we would know what activities were when. Because I think one of the main things that you want to avoid, in my opinion, is back to school night.
Yeah, back to
And
school
I
night,
don't think we've ever done that.
big choir
Yeah.
concerts, things
Yes.
like that,
Yeah.
we'll try. I'll talk
Okay.
to all the
But
admin.
what I'm basically saying, when everything's done, we should know, and it shouldn't be a big deal, what type of activities are going to be going on during the board meetings, that's all.
Right. And Lori and I, we have talked about that, so we'll work on that at the beginning of each month, if that's okay? Yeah. Okay, thank you.
You're going to work on it for the beginning of the month for the entire year. What I'm saying is,
They're going to work on it for the entire year. I
Right.
believe that that's how it's done, that you sit down with a group of people, Dr. Hibbs, and you come up with the activities for the year.
Yes, there is a meeting, yes, there's an activities meeting for sure, but I think this is all going to start with talking to the admin about
Right,
all the
right,
big things in their
right.
building and trying to stay off of board meetings.
Okay, so that would be the starting point, and then from there, Lori, once that group is put together, the actual calendar, will be getting a monthly calendar of what is being held.
Okay. All right, just as long as we have it ahead of time.
Yes.
That's good.
Yes. Okay.
Do we vote on the, I forget now, the report of the superintendent? Did we take a vote on that?
We haven't gotten there yet.
Do we typically do that? I forget.
Yes.
We do, okay.
That's great. She said she'll include that monthly calendar in the board packet,
Okay.
beginning of each month, because we have a board packet every week.
Yeah, all I'm saying is, I'd like to know ahead of time, not just the month, that month. In other words, it should be a really simple task. At the end of the summer, we should know where all the activities are, and we have 10 board meetings, what activities are going to be going on during the board meetings. That's all I'm looking for, ahead of time.
Okay, we'll work on that.
Okay.
Lori will work on that,
Yeah,
okay?
Pat, if I could, I want to clarify something, if you don't mind.
Sure.
For the public, okay? When I was talking about Monday, February 15th, teachers have a statutory right under 18A 25-3 that if school is going to be conducted that day, they don't have to come to work, and they're not deducted salary. That's my concern about that day.
If the will of the board is to change that, we can eliminate the 15th and simply proceed to take it away from spring break.
And the reason why I bring that up, if a teacher gives notice to the district that they are not going to come to work that day, they're not deducted pay, and then we have to pay for a substitute. It's going to be very costly.
Pat, I would just ask the board if they want to change it.
Okay, what committee would that go into? Is there a committee that can discuss it?
I would have the conversation right now because
Okay.
we have to really get the calendar back out.
For next year, right? So next year's,
The 20,
Next year's spring break starts on Friday, the 26th, and goes through the next Friday, but we return on Monday, the 5th of April.
So it starts on the 26th of,
So what it would mean is that you'd have one day built in, you would skip February 15th, so then you would have Friday, April 2nd, Thursday, April 1st, Wednesday, March 31st, and Tuesday, March 30th. And after that fifth day, we would tack it on and go to Monday, the 21st.
okay,
Everybody likes that better?
I'm not looking at the calendar. Is that Easter week?
yes.
Yeah, Easter,
Are you touching Good Friday or Holy Thursday?
no.
Okay.
We are not, no, hold on. We are,
Right now, Friday, which would be Good Friday, and the whole next week.
yeah.
And
So
traditionally, you
we're
always
staying
have
off
Friday
of
and Monday.
Holy Monday. Is
Right.
Easter the 28th?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yes.
So no, we're not touching Easter or
Okay.
Holy Monday.
Okay. Okay.
good.
I just think it's prudent on our part to be thinking ahead and how it could impact the district financially.
So it's on the agenda. Do we need to make a motion to amend what's on the agenda, or can we just?
What day would you take off spring break?
It's already taken.
Oh.
Yeah,
So
the
just go
pathway
with
the pathway is already laid. So the pathway goes from Friday, April 2nd, all the way through to Tuesday, March 30th. So essentially, instead of having 6 days before you would tack on to the end of the year, which would be Monday, the 21st, you're only going to have 5. So, in other words, you have 5 days, and then you tack on.
That works.
It's just eliminating that.
Just eliminating
that-
President's Day on
yeah,
2/15.
that present day.
Right,
So
okay.
that's the only thing that's being taken out.
Yep.
That works.
Do we need a motion to that, or is it? Okay.
All right. Okay, I'll make a motion to approve the revised calendar for the 26-27 district school year. Can I have a second?
You're not,
Oh, no, no,
take a second in discussion.
okay.
Second?
Wait, hold on, we're voting on it later.
Oh, are we voting
Yeah.
on that later?
Yes,
For the agenda for,
yeah.
we're voting on it already, right? So they're just amending what we already had on there for item 6.
All right, so wait for it
Yeah,
to
you
come
don't
up.
have to make a motion.
So we're not taking off the 15th, or we're leaving it
No.
on?
We are, when we get to the vote,
Superintendent, number 6,
Okay,
we just amend,
All
say,
right.
we're approving this with the amendment of removing
Okay.
president.
Oh, okay, we'll just clarify that then, okay.
All right,
Voting on this.
okay. Anything else? All right, seeing nothing, we're going to go on to our school and community relations. Mr. DeStilio, the Director of Data Technology, Registration, and School Community Outreach. You're on, Dr.
Thank you, Ms. Blum.
DeStilio.
I have quite a few announcements, particularly as related to the marching band. They have quite a few things going on, particularly tomorrow is Arita's Dine and Donate for them on Egg Harbor Road, and it's from 12 p.m. to 10 p.m. But they also have a couple things, and it'll be in our Sunday Fun Day, so you guys can check it out, particularly with the links. They have a Eagles road trip raffle. Birds Take Over Nashville. Entries are due by Thursday, August 13th, and by 5 p.m. there's going to be a drawing at 8 p.m. on Facebook Live. So if you're interested in doing that, please check out the Sunday Fun Day this weekend that Matt, my colleague, puts out. Also, August 2nd is a $5 per car wash for the marching band as well. I have an announcement from the Hagan Library. On July 29th, that's also tomorrow, kids of all ages can join us for our annual truck night on Wednesday, July 29th at 6 p.m. in the Hagan Library parking lot. It says, do you love trucks and rescue vehicles? See and touch trucks of all shapes and sizes. Registration is suggested but not required, nor is a Hagan Library card. Make sure you visit haganlibrary.org for details. And then finally, I wanted to give a special shout out to the custodial and the maintenance staff. I know we talked about all the hard work the teachers and the staff did when there was the power outage at Wedgwood prior to the end of the year. I think it would also be important to mention the custodial maintenance staff that made that all possible and working up to order with the teachers. They're currently working really hard with ESY. They're currently navigating all the storms that cause havoc the next day that we come in. They're killing it with walls and trying to get all our buildings ready. So I wanted to bring a special shout out to that organization and that staff. So thank you, Ms. Blum. That's my report for today.
Thank you so much. Okay. Under correspondence, may I have a motion to approve E1, letters of discipline? There are no correspondences at this time. All in favor? Opposed? Oh, second. All in favor?
Aye.
Yes, Scott?
On the letters of discipline, there's usually an attachment for letters of discipline. Am I usually wrong with that?
No, I think you're right.
Yeah, you're right.
Is this just summarized this time? But I didn't see the attachment.
No, it says it. It says it.
No. Yeah, there should have been attachment. It looks like
Sorry, it looks like it should have been E1. I think we missed uploading it. I'll be happy to email it to the board.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Could we also maybe have it on the agenda of the next meeting so the public can see it as well?
Sure. I don't know that there's, do you want us to pull it and we can do it in August? I don't know if there's any statutory reason why this would need to be on there even.
Do we have an end of the year report in June
You mean for
for the discipline throughout the district?
that's, well, this, yeah.
Okay.
Okay, so we're going to pull it
Okay.
and do it in August?
Yep.
Everybody okay with that?
Yeah.
Okay, so we won't go ahead with having a call about that, a vote. All right, approval of the minutes. May I have a motion for approval of the minutes for the month of June 2026?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Under old business, we're going to go over our committee reports. This month, strategic planning, we don't have one, we already did that, right? So we're okay with that. Can we move on to personnel?
You take it? Yeah, so, I mean, personnel has to be high level, so we discussed hirings, we discussed separations, we discussed, things of that nature.
Okay, thank you. How about under IA? I don't think Mrs. Hartong is here. Do you have, anybody, you have notes on that?
I have notes, but the minutes are here. Linda was there, Pat, Elaine, Eric, Tricia, Annette, Jennifer, Mike DeCilio, Christina Cox, and me. Oh, I sat in for Linda, she wasn't there, I'm sorry. We reviewed a proposal for improvement, which is a yoga club at the high school, which is for everyone, staff and students, which sounded fantastic. We talked about technology for, oh, that'll meet 2 times a month, sorry. Technology for primary learners was reviewed and discussed again. We discussed corrections and changes to the calendar and going back to the full day for conferences, which Dr. Hibbs just summarized. We talked about how the district is going to be surveying all of our digital tools, the goal being to reduce screen time so that we can look at when to use it, how to use it, and making it purposeful. The district's also looking at pacing guides and common assessments for a variety of classes. They went over that. Thank you to the staff members that are working on that. And also, we talked about the tech class at the middle school and how we can maintain that there. Also, the good news is there will be French 1 and German 1 at the high school next year. That's something we talked about at our last meeting, and there was some confusion, but those courses will carry, will run. There was an emergency or virtual plan for us to review. We reviewed that, same as last year, it was a state requirement. We talked about curriculum writers. Oh, those are the staff members that are writing curriculum. Right, staff members who are writing curriculum. Thank you to them. And there was one policy that we looked at, which is on the agenda tonight, I think for first reading, which is home instruction due to a health condition. There were some changes there, and we talked about that, and that was it.
Okay, thank you.
Oh, and business committee was supposed to be right after that, but it was canceled because of the weather.
Okay, so the only one that we're missing is policy.
Yeah, and honestly, all of the policy conversations are on today for first reads. So I'm just going to say it now, Pat, is that okay?
Yes, that would be great.
So one of the questions that came up was how many of these policies on here are being revised because the board chose to versus statutorily or code-related changes. So everyone on here, with the exception of policy 14, board member participation at advertised board meetings, all ran through either a broadcast or a code revision, and there were no further changes to it. So number 9, I want to point you to is the student use of internet-enabled devices. So that is the decision of Governor Murphy that was upheld. They very recently put out their frequently asked questions for this, and the decision is that students in grades K through 12 are not allowed to have cell phones at all, bell to bell. So we are currently working through what that looks like for our buildings. It will have the most impact at the high school because the middle school and the elementary schools had firm processes already. So we're working through that conversation with our entire group. And then number 14, the board member participation, the only changes there were it took out the word emergency because I don't think any of us felt that we wanted to define the word emergency. Allows a board member to attend virtually, not in executive session, and it also requires a notice to the board president as opposed to permission. Everything else from that policy carried and remained the same. So we'll tell you month by month which ones were discussed and changed because the board wanted to, and which ones came through Strauss and code-related revisions.
Okay, thank
Question.
you. Go ahead.
Just a question on that. With the board attendance one, does it talk about, I know one of the issues of debate, right, would be somebody joins virtually, but they join just to like vote on an item versus they attend for the whole thing. Does the policy speak to that? I think it's silent on that, but I do think that's something that as a board we should decide, because I could see that being, it has been debated in the past where somebody wanted to call in, they're like, no, you have to attend the whole meeting. And I don't know, collectively the board should probably decide what they want to do on that point.
You
I
want me
think
to
that's a good point.
take that back to policy?
I thought that that it's usually expected, maybe I'm wrong, to attend the entire meeting. I know that they can't attend executive for privacy reasons, but I wouldn't assume that any of us would want somebody to just be able to call in to vote on a vote. What I think this did do, though, before it was only due to certain things, this to me allows people, no matter where they are, if they want to be committed to be a part of the meeting, they call in when the meeting starts, they stay on the line until the meeting is over. I don't know if it's not spelled out well enough in the policy. Is that your concern?
Yes, that's my
Okay.
concern.
So do we want to take that back?
I
and-
guess my feedback, and it's not that I disagree with you, Scott, I think we're agreed. I think the approach, my understanding of some of the changes is there's really not a great metric to police other board members. So to me, writing it into the policy, like if someone breaks it, like, you know what I mean? If they call in and vote on the first, 3 things and then hang up. So to me, like, it's not that I disagree that it's good practice. I think for me, like, I wouldn't know what the purpose, like the pragmatic purpose of including something like that.
It's important, guys, read the policies before you vote on them. It states clearly, a board member participating electronically shall participate in the entirety of the public portion of the advertised board meeting and shall not participate in only selected portions of the meeting. It already says that.
Right, but
Good. That's good.
okay. It outlines it, but there's no concept, right, but there's no like, I think Scott's saying, like, what's the consequence of it? Right, like if, that's what I'm saying. I guess
Yeah, I
that's
guess
my.
the only thing would just be like, if somebody tried to dial in later, right, we just wouldn't allow them to dial in. Like if somebody dialed in now, like if Linda called in right now and said, oh,
I'm here.
I'm here, we would have to say, well, you missed the first half,
Yeah,
we're not gonna
yeah.
allow you to
Have to
dial
be
in,
from the
right?
beginning, right.
Because it's from the beginning.
Yeah.
As long as
Yeah,
you all
that
agree
makes
that that's
sense.
clear, I think,
Says the entirety of the
Yeah.
public portion.
all right.
I think the wording is there. Thank you, Julie.
Okay.
Any other questions?
Yeah, my other one was on the cell phone one. It talked about internet-enabled device and non-internet-enabled device. It actually didn't use the word cell phone.
I know.
And so like, then I started thinking like, does that mean like you could give your kid a flip phone and they could have that? Because it's not internet-enabled?
So that's part of the regulation that, we are most likely not going to allow those either, because it still meets the standard of that. So yes, it'll be addressed to the regulation, Scott.
Okay, so that would be down into the regulation?
Yep.
Okay.
States in the policy, number 4, internet-enabled device means any device capable of connecting to the internet and accessing online content, smartphones, tablets, smartwatches, smart glasses, including social media applications. An internet-enabled device does not include an internet-enabled device provided by the board when used for educational purposes. And then it says non-internet-enabled device means a basic communication device that is not capable of connecting to the internet or enabling the user to access content on the internet. For example, basic flip-style phones and two-way radio walkie-talkies.
Yeah. It definitely defines it. I think Scott's question was,
Would
would
it
it be allowed?
I
And-
didn't see where it said it,
Yeah,
because the rest of it then talks about internet-enabled devices.
yeah. So it'll be
Whatever.
addressed through we don't want kids running around with walkie-talkies, and flip phones. That's going to be interesting if we go back to flip phones.
Okay, anybody else?
So, I know business was canceled, but Janine did distribute the notes for it and then offered to have a Google Meet with anybody that wanted to meet. I thought the notes were pretty straightforward. I know, Janine, do you want to run through them, or I can run through them, just maybe the highlights of the key items? Do you want me to do it, or? Either way, yeah, okay.
Okay, so some of the notes that we circulated, we just had an update on our energy projects that are going on, building envelope weatherization, lighting in the parking lots and in the interior. We're doing our boiler demos and adding our new ones. We also have some items on the agenda as we work our way into phase 2 of the energy savings plan, which includes our solar projects and the resurfacing of some of our roofs. We also discussed the track project, which was part of the 26-27 capital budget. We approved that project and a couple other ones in the budget. It is coming in over budget, so we'll have to transfer funds from either our HVAC replacement or funds allocated for other smaller projects. We did get multiple quotes through cooperative purchasing, but we need to get moving on that project. As far as other purchasing, we have the renewal of an agreement with Kids' Choice, and then some approvals to participate in various cooperative purchasing agreements. We are also approving our interlocal agreement with the Township for the providing SRO and SLEO services. Let's see. And then, I think that's it.
I have a
That's
couple
the majority.
questions that I guess,
Yes.
I guess I would ask now, or do you want me to ask before we vote on finance related to that? Like just three
I'm fine.
quick things. Okay, I noticed there's only 3 items on the bill list. That's usually like really, really long. So I was wondering, is there any reason why there's only 3
So,
items?
yep, this time of the year, we're moving from June to July. And one of the things we have to do in order to pay for purchase orders that were created in June, in order to pay them in July, we have to kind of figure out what the final amount is and roll them over to July.
Okay,
So this is just bills that were paid, that were being generated in July, and then when we do our August, we'll pick up some of the ones from June.
Okay, thanks. And then we had a presentation in Business Committee last month about the T-Mobile Chirpy phones.
Yes.
And how we're getting them for free, but on the state contract purchases, there's $5,000 for wireless two-way radios. Is that something different from the Chirpy
That's
phones?
most likely, yes. So we still have, within the building, certain staff members have walkies. The T-Mobile phones are for the admin, they have the push-to-talk capability.
And we don't pay anything for those?
No, we do.
No, we do. There's the
Yeah,
monthly,
we didn't say
so
it was free.
it's the T-Mobile phones that have the push-to-talk capability are replacing the Verizon phones that the administrators use. Certain staff members in the building will still have walkies. One of the good things about the T-Mobile phones is that they can, I don't know the correct word, interact, I guess, with the walkie-talkies
Yeah,
in the
we
building.
integrated, yes.
And there's, in buildings where we had serious issues with cell service, the T-Mobile phones have been much better.
Okay, thanks. And then the last thing was, I know every month, I think even, or frequently, we have this disposal of fixed assets. And there's so many computers on there. Do we just throw them away, or do we get like money for them? And can we get money for them?
So it depends. So on every fixed asset disposal list that you see, even if it says the items are trash or obsolete, the purchasing department, well, for computers, that could be different. Some of them, there is like a trade-in value, or we keep certain ones and redeploy them for, like, you know, if a kid breaks one and then needs a loaner computer. Other than that, our purchasing department will look, and if there's anything we think we can get any money for, even if it's a little bit, you'll see another action item that I believe we have this month. Just give me 1 second. So for example, item number 14, we sell things on Gov Deals. So if there's anything that we're getting rid of, we can get money for, we do sell it. But everything has to be on the disposal list. That doesn't necessarily mean everything's going in the trash on that
Okay.
list.
Okay, thanks, Janine.
Sure.
Any other, go ahead.
No, I just wanted to highlight again, I mean, I know Janine talked about it, but the roof coatings that we're getting with the solar project, that is like a huge win for the district. I mean, it's like every building, I think, except two of them, right, in town?
Yeah, $4.5 million for free.
Yeah, at least $4.5 million that's saving us, and it's going to get us 15 years more on the roofs. I mean, that would have had to have been a referendum item, so thank God.
Yeah, I think the energy items are giving us a little bit more time before
Yeah, I
we
mean,
have to
they're
move.
saving us from a huge I mean, that's probably adding up close to probably 30 million in savings
Right, so
between
that's
the
a good thing.
solar and the roofs and everything else.
Yeah, I think it'll be overall close to 25
Yeah,
million.
huge.
Okay, anything else?
for old business?
Yes.
I have a
Oh,
couple
sorry,
things.
I
Go
just
ahead.
have a my
Go
committee
ahead,
update.
sure.
Okay, so I have an update on the special committee for personnel items related to the superintendent. So this is regarding questions around the committee operations, as well as some of the advisory guidance that we're seeking from the SEC. I just wanted to, directly address where allowed and share an update on the work of the committee. So, I do believe our district and our students and our community members deserve a board that's grounded in trust, transparency, and sound government. I want to ensure the community that our committee is taking care to ensure every single step we take is in line with legal counsel and the current ethical guidance. So in close consultation with our attorney, I want to give an update on where things are and why. So as it relates to record keeping, on the advice of legal counsel and out of an abundance of caution, the special committee is not posting its meeting agenda and minutes to board docs. We recognize transparency is vital, so please be assured that these records are not missing or unmonitored. Our board attorney receives all documents directly and serves as the official record keeper. This measure will remain in place while we await formal regulatory guidance and an advisory opinion from the State School Ethics Commission, or the SEC. As it relates to the doctrine of necessity, to ensure we handle potential board member conflicts of interest with complete fairness, the special committee has proactively asked the board attorney to request an advisory opinion from the SEC for formal clarification on the application of the doctrine of necessity. Specifically, we have requested guidance on whether board members with identified conflicts of interest may validly invoke the doctrine, the precise boundaries of how conflicted members may participate in discussions on specific agenda items once the doctrine is invoked for a vote, whether conflicted board members may provide input on superintendent goals and performance metrics. While we await the SEC's official opinion, we are taking the most conservative path possible as advised by our attorney. Conflicted board members are currently not participating in discussion, providing feedback, or taking part in anything related to the superintendent's goals or performance, and where allowed, and after review of the board attorney, information is shared with the full board. We will continue to keep the public as updated as possible as we await the formal guidance from the SEC and when it becomes available, keeping all deadlines in mind. I appreciate the feedback from both the board and the community and your continued engagement and support of our schools. Thank you.
Thank you, Mrs. Schechter. Anybody else? Go ahead. Mrs. Baker?
I have 4 items. Pat, the board talked about this, and I know Gretchen was supposed to be involved in it, and I just wonder if you have an update for the board. It came up about the senior privilege. Right now, or this past year, there was close to 275 seniors left the building at 10:30 in the morning, and my understanding was originally they would be leaving if they were going to school or if they had work. But that wasn't really being checked on. It was just the fact that they had the credits that they don't have to be here. My understanding was that there was going to be some changes, and Gretchen was working on it, and I'd like to know where we are with it.
Mrs. Holmes, do you have anything in relationship to that?
I don't have any information from Gretchen at this point, but it's something we will discuss in collaboration with secondary administration, and we'll be able to report back on what that'll look like.
Okay, can you maybe have that ready for the August meeting? Committee meeting? Yeah. Okay, thank you.
Another issue that, as a board member, that's been bothering me, because I know collectively the board, we're the people that's supposed to be driving what we want, or how our district to move based on the feedback that we're getting back from community members and teachers to us. Not just this year, but it started last year, where we were hearing from teachers and community people about concerns related to student support. I'm glad to hear that we may be getting money from this solar thing, okay? Because here's the thing. At the elementary level, we lost a lot of support for teachers that worked with BSI and interventionists. At the middle level, tier support that included BSI, interventionalists, and at the high school. We've heard teacher after teacher come up and talk about that. We've heard the nurses come up and talk about the people that support them, their aides. There seems to be a direction that the teacher should be handling all of it. And frequently people tell me, and I've been out already 10 years, I can't believe it, things are different. Different from when you were there as a guidance counselor. Things are a lot different. And I think it was maybe Mrs. Miller that was telling me that the landscape changes. And it changes for everybody. Administrators, teachers, aides, nurses. You know, when I think about what the nurses are doing now from what they were doing when I was 10 years ago, it's enormous. Our teachers, just think about our teachers. Our teachers in the last 2 years had to learn a whole new evaluation system, a new computer system, a new grading system. We have made a lot of demands on our staff, and they have stepped up, everybody. Administrators, teachers, aides, everyone. And the feeling, and I don't know how my other fellow board members feel about it, and I don't know what the answer is, but I have this feeling that we're getting away from our kids having adults in their life, the ones that really need support. Remember now, we're in a township. I moved here back in 1977. We now have 25% of our students on free and reduced lunch. Let me say that again, 25%. I don't know what the answer is. We're not rolling in money. I'm glad to hear that we're going to be getting money from the solar panel, but I'm concerned about the direction that we're going in and where a lot of this is being filled in with computer programs and computer assistance. I know from my own granddaughter where she said, you know, they get homework 20 minutes on a resource, I guess, I don't know, platform to address their deficiencies. And the kids know what they can do to make the teacher think that they've been on it for 20 minutes when they really weren't. So this really does concern me, and one of my other questions is going to kind of be looking at that, okay? We're kind of really moving, you know, quickly with the computers, and we're taking away the human interaction. And I don't know, it's just me, okay?
Mrs. Baker, I think some of this we need to do in instructional affairs. Would that be a fair place to work on it?
I just think it's something that it's concerning because it didn't really strike me, but the more and more people that are talking about these support things, it's starting to bother me. I don't even know what the answer is.
I mean,
okay?
there
But I
is
just had to say it.
there is an opening on the Instructional Affairs Committee, I believe. If there's anybody else that would like to join that committee to discuss these things, you might want to think about that.
I'll think about it. Yes,
Connie,
sure.
I can address that just briefly. So, you know, everybody on this board has been here. It's been here for years. You have heard Janine and I talk about, you know, the fact that we are an S2 district, how much money we lost year after year after year. No one wants to make any cuts, but this is where we are. And it is a horrific place to be. And I've offered options. Options were not taken. And this is where we landed. So it really shouldn't be a surprise up here, sadly, that we have to keep cutting from this budget. And I said this publicly before, you know, during COVID, it seems that we put a lot of our COVID resources, that money into people that was not lasting money, and then we had to cut. And, you know, being an S2 district, we've lost millions and millions of dollars, and we never righted the ship. So no one wants to cut interventionists. I think we should add 15 more, if we could. But the simple fact of the matter is we're just not in that space. And this has been discussed thoroughly budget year after year after year. You know, no one wants to cut counselors. That it's a horrible space to be, but when your ledger is in red, you don't get to add. There's no credit here. And it's just sad that this is where we are.
Okay, can I continue? Can I continue?
Can I just add something real quick? I just want to add, for the solar projects, we're not getting money that we can spend on just anything. What these projects are is there specific projects that are worked into the plan. We get energy savings, and then we're allowed to do specific projects, and we're paying back the money with the energy savings. So the money that we're getting isn't just to be added to the budget, it's to be used for energy savings capital projects.
But I guess in the back end of it, it's paying for things that we would have to approve to pay for in the first
Oh,
place.
sure, but things,
That's what I'm saying.
but things we would have to borrow for. We could
Yeah,
never just
yeah.
pay for a roof out
Okay.
of our budget.
Okay.
If I could clarify that too, I think we have to be careful when we look at money like something you're gonna get for a capital project, like what you're gonna get from solar, right? Like, that is a one-time infusion that you can use to pay for like a one-time thing. You need a new roof, right? Let's just say you had $1 million to put the new roof on, that's great. But if you were to take that $1 million you had and said, hey, instead of putting on the roof this year, they're gonna go hire, 10 more people. You now created $1 million ongoing cost that you've got to fund year over year over year. So you can't use that one-time capital infusion to fund ongoing costs, like from a position. Now, you can do that if you figure out something that's going to replace ongoing costs. So like a lot of these technology changes that happen, and change is never a fun thing, right? It's painful, but by changing some of these programs, like the move to Google, the move to Genesis, we generated a significant amount of ongoing savings. So every year you're saving $400,000 or $500,000 a year that you're paying for technology and licenses that you can use to fund ongoing costs, like positions and things of that nature. And the district's going to have to continue to be creative with those types of things where you're trying to eliminate some type of ongoing cost to pay for ongoing headcount, because you're going to have those struggles. But we just got to be careful that the solar money is great and it's a godsend, but it's one-time infusions we can't use to fund ongoing costs. It's saving us also from a referendum. Well, we're probably still going to have to do a referendum, but at some point down the road, it's hopefully going to be smaller than what it would have been did we not get this.
Can I never want to put words in anybody's mouth, but what I heard Connie saying is that as we cut people, she's concerned about replacing people with technology. Is that what you were saying?
And I'm going to bring that up as I continue,
Oh, all right.
okay? Okay, thank you. Those of you who were here maybe about a month ago, people that are watching, I brought up the issue of breakage when we talk about negotiations and union salaries. I just want to say something about that. I asked about the breakage, and the breakage is not something that I guess you could put your finger on just today. There's a lot of moving parts, but there is breakage, and I'll tell you what that means. When we solve a contract, when we settle a contract, and the contract, and trust me, I'm very proud of the people that worked on the committee. We had all our big units negotiating at the same time, and we spread it out where some were 5 years and 4 years and 3 years, and that was a positive move, not all at the same time. Saying that, if we settle a contract for 3 years, and we just round it off, we settle it for 4%. You can cost out what that 4% is going to be, 4%, then 4% on that, cumulative effect, and at the end of the contract, you get a number about what it's going to cost. I can't talk about the last contract, but the contract before, we didn't even come close to that number because of breakage. When people leave, okay, you have a first-year teacher, and then you have a teacher leaving who's been at the top of the guide. The difference is the breakage. So when you hear a settlement, understand that at the end of that contract settlement, we're never paying exactly what that is. And we use that breakage for a myriad of things to run the district. So I wanted to point that out as I continue on here, okay? I'm just wondering, Mrs. Bloom, I asked these questions, and I asked about a timeline. I asked this. I asked if we could have an expenditure report on the salaries from July 1, 2025 to June 30th, 2026. What were the salaries, what had to come out, and what were we left with? The second thing I asked for, an analysis of the total cost relative to technology from July 1st, 2023 to June 30th, 2026. This would include all the costs and trainings that go on. Could it be broken out by year? And I said, I know that it's not something that they can give me in 2 days, and I asked for a timeline, and that's what I'm asking for right now. And I think Mr. La Liberty went right into that with his last comments, what I'm asking about technology. Just exactly what are we spending on technology in the last 4 years, with a breakout at each year? And Mrs. Bloom, I'm asking when and if it need be, we'll take a vote, because sometimes when I ask questions, it can't just be me. It has to be the full board. So does the full board, do we want to put a motion on the floor that we get the answers to what I asked, or not? I guess the point would be, would my fellow board members agree with me that we should get that information? Because me as a single board member can't ask questions for information.
I just consulted with our lawyer, and he said that we don't usually have motions to vote on anything like this during old business. It's not the place for it.
Okay. Mrs. Bloom, do you have any idea when I would get that information?
I think Mrs. Wechter has something.
So just a couple of things. First off, about the, and this is just suggestions on how we could get the data. So the expenditure report, as far as salaries, you can actually see that every month on the board secretary's reports that are approved. I can also run a report to isolate all the salaries, and I can definitely share that, put that through all the committees in August. As far as the technology, I just feel like maybe that should be another topic that we can add to each committee to understand more about it, because technology is embedded in everything. So I would want, to just talk about it, get a good understanding of exactly what it is, because the last thing I want to do is miss something. For example, technology isn't just one line item of the budget or one department of the budget. There's technology in everybody's budget. There's training in everybody's budget, some on technology, some not on technology. So aside from understanding exactly what we want, maybe there's a reason, maybe we're looking at the savings, maybe we're looking to change direction. So I would kind of want to understand the goal and what we need the information for. That might just help us as administrators be able to talk about it. So I would recommend, I can absolutely share, like I said, every single board secretary's report. If you go to the detailed part, you can isolate the salaries and wages. I can also run a report. I'm happy to share that at the committee, and I would recommend adding the topic of the technology expenses to the committee. There may be some things we can have ready for the committee meeting and then get into a further discussion at that point,
Okay.
if that works.
Yeah, I think that was definitely a step in the right direction. I guess I want to get a sense of, when I think, if I just kind of like boil it down, the fact that, we recognize the students have deficiencies, and teachers work with the kids for the deficiencies. And now the kids have the deficiencies, and the teacher's not getting a lot of the supports that they've had before, and we're using programs to help the kids remediate those deficiencies. Yet, some of the kids, just based on that one example, that they know how they can kind of beat the system. And so it's just something that it's been bothering me, okay? How much are we spending on technology, and is the bang worth the buck? Thank you.
I think with that too, that's almost a separate question, because I think when you're talking, Janine, you're talking about all the things that we're doing with technology that help you do all the work that you do,
Right.
the books and this and that.
Right.
Sounds to me like Connie's looking more towards, we're spending instructional money on technology. How could we maybe use some of that to put some people back into positions to give, because if you follow anything in education nowadays, you're seeing how other countries and other areas, California, they're all going back from the big push that we've had on technology and saying children aren't reading where they should. I mean, when people come out and they talk about things, they're talking about the use of cursive writing. I think we still do that, but not everybody does that. I think the point is, even in our instructional affairs committee, feel free to come. I mean, we do have an opening. We've been talking about that because we are at a cusp where we're thinking about trying to get humans more involved in the education of children. And I know that's important to me. I think that's important to other board members as well. And I think that's more of the information that we need to analyze more than I personally think, than the globally what everything you are spending on.
Yeah.
On
Pat,
technology.
that's exactly right. And I like to say to the people that are watching and people involved, as your representative, if something that I'm saying here is hitting a nerve with you, let me know. And maybe I'm all wrong, okay? I'm just saying it's just some gut feeling I've felt over the past 2 years about a sense of where we're going, and people aren't happy about it. That's all.
And I think, the programs, they're still better than nothing for students who struggle. But we want to find something that's more human to help students do better educationally.
Right. And we also discussed about cutting out on the primary grades use of the computers and technology.
Well, that was a step in the right direction, right? Because of the feedback. That's what I'm saying. I would love to hear from the people that voted for me, okay, and who didn't, that if it strikes a nerve with you, please let us know. I could be all wrong. Or maybe I'm right.
Scott?
It seems like something that would be good for instructional affairs. But I think on the other side of the coin, and look, I think the human element is important, but in instructional affairs, I think you need to look at the reality of we are on the cusp of the next industrial revolution. Right? We're going to see it. What AI is changing the world. AI is probably going to change 80% or so, I forget the exact term or stat, but jobs are not going to exist. 80% of the jobs today are not going to exist in 10, 15 years. New jobs will replace them, and they're going to have different requirements. And I think in education, we got to start thinking about how do we prepare the children for those new jobs and the skills they're going to need. The kids are going to need to be AI aware and how to leverage it. And right now, students that graduate and know how to use AI are getting jobs faster than those that don't, or people that know the trades, right? Like there's a huge demand for the trades right now, and those jobs aren't going to be replaced by AI for quite a while.
I'm just talking about the people that are on the top. Yeah, they're going to be able to take off. They can use the computer. I'm talking about the people on the bottom that are struggling, that need support. We're in the people business. We're in the people business.
I also think, Mrs. Miller, you know this, for special education, some of the things in technology have made a difference in success. I have a relative who is allowed to record things or use spell check or use books on tape. Not that we don't want to have children learn to read, but there are some disabilities where you need that technology to actually succeed in life. And that's the exciting part, Scott, of technology for that group of students that we educate every day too. Yes, Terry.
I think Connie said she was finished. If no one, I was just going to move to open to the public.
Oh, I have something
Oh,
else under
sorry.
old business. I promise this is the last thing, I think. I just have a little statement I want to read here. It does have to do with old business. I want to make a brief statement about the closing of our schools on July 6th. On behalf of the board, I would like to apologize for the inconvenience that this closure may have caused for some of our families. I know there was a disruption to summer camps held in our schools, as well as to the transportation of students who began summer programs at out-of-district schools that day. Our own extended school year program started a day late. I believe that lessons were learned by the district due to these issues, and I believe that the administration and the board will work together to make sure that problems that developed on July 6th will not happen again, and that we are all very sorry if that day was a problem for your family. Okay. Anybody else?
Yeah, thank you for saying that.
Okay, so we're finished with old business. May I have a motion to open the meeting to the public?
So moved.
Second.
Second. Oh, okay. All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. Okay. First person I'm going to call up is Jamie Knee.
Hi, I'm Jamie Kinney. I'm the school nurse at Thomas Jefferson. I'm here tonight to talk about why health assistants are essential to providing safe, effective health care for students in every school. At TJ, I care for approximately 480 students, including 6 autism spectrum disorder classes and 2 learning disability classes. Many of our students have complex medical needs and are unable to come to the health office independently. Because of this, I often leave the health office to assess and care for students throughout the building. While I'm caring for a student elsewhere in the building, the health office doesn't stop. Students continue to come in with illnesses, injuries, medication needs, and emergencies. Last school year at TJ, we documented 8,335 student visits to the health office. On an average day, I care for 50 to 60 students. During the 25-26 school year, I administered 17 daily medications and managed 45 as-needed medications, all requiring careful assessment, accurate documentation, and safe administration. That is why our health assistants are so important. As you've heard previously, health assistants do much more than assist with health office tasks. They help maintain a safe and organized health office, support attendance and documentation, assist with student care, and ensure the students are supervised when the nurse is called away. They know where our emergency medications and equipment are located and provide critical support during urgent situations. Just as importantly, health assistants allow school nurses to practice to the full extent of our profession. Their support gives us time to complete thorough assessments, communicate with families, educate parents about their child's health needs, connect families with community resources, and collaborate with teachers, counselors, and the child study team to remove health barriers that affect learning. The medical needs of today's students continue to grow. School nurses care for students with chronic illnesses, severe allergies, diabetes, asthma, seizure disorders, mental health concerns, and increasingly complex medical needs. Every school nurse is expected to respond to emergencies throughout the building while continuing to provide safe, timely care to every student who walks through the health office door. I respectfully ask the board to reconsider the proposed reduction in health assistant hours. The medical needs of our students do not end halfway through the school day, and neither should the support that keeps them safe. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Kinney. Mrs. Muller?
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. I'm Marianne Muller, president of the WTSSPA. I just have a couple of questions for you tonight that I hope you will answer for me. First, has everyone who was displaced by the elimination of the hall lavatory monitor and child care workers been offered a job in district before the new jobs were posted? I see there are still 20 positions needed for Walls Preschool as well as other buildings in the district. Secondly, are we doing anything to restore the health assistants to their previous hours? I feel that only having a health assistant for 3.5 hours a day creates a safety issue for all students and staff. As you know, the last year, the health aide job description changed to include toileting and diapering of students who are not potty trained at the elementary schools. Who will be doing that actual job of changing these students when the assistants are gone for the day and not in the building? Other assistants should not be pulled away from their students to change diapers, as this would be a violation of their student's IEP. Do you have a plan for this? I know this has been asked before, but I don't believe we've received an answer. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Mrs. Muller. Can you, Dr. Hibbs, tell us if we have 20 openings, I guess is what is listed? Is there a plan, or have all the health aides been offered other positions?
I believe at this point, there's nobody left on the list. Everybody was offered a position. And it's important to note, too, that you have seniority in the category, not across categories. So Sue Sorg did a wonderful job with this, and, you know, there's no one that lost a job at this point. Everyone was offered something.
Okay.
And they can always apply for anything else as well if they want to do something different.
Okay. And as far as health assistants go, that's an ongoing topic that we go through. Again, it's like with the guidance counselors, it's not something that we're happy about. We have the 3.5 hours. That doesn't sound like much, but that was not in the original budget. That was an add-on. It's still in discussion. It doesn't mean that some of us up here don't share your concerns, but at this point, we just have not come up with anything at this point that will change that at this point in time. Any other board members want to speak to that? But we do hear you, and we are happy to listen to you because we understand there is a need. Anybody else? Okay. Mrs. Kozar? Oh, the diapering, okay. I don't have that answer. Mrs. Miller, do you have an answer to that? Who will be doing the diapering in the buildings if we do not have the health assistants?
So we currently have assistants at various levels. So preschool, we have assistants in classrooms. They assist with the diapering. So if we have toileting needs at other levels, specifically students who are identified with an IEP, we have assistants who help with that. So we have a plan for that, and those are the people who have been doing that.
Okay. Thank you. All right, Mrs. Kozar?
Just give me a second. Okay, so I have a whole list of questions, so I may be back twice. Chrissy Kozar, Washington Township support staff, voter, and I live here. Just wanted to make a point that for the first time since records started, student cognitive skills have actually dropped and gone down. This has been attributed to the screen time in classrooms as well as screen times allowed at home. So AI, whatever the students are using, we need to get back to pen and paper, pencil paper, chalkboard, because these cognitive skills are not going to fare well for our students if they are going down. I'd like to ask about the fuel tank for transportation. We've been without a fuel tank now for over a year. We have to take the buses up to Riggins to get them fueled. As you know, it's not just buses that take the fuel. Security, driver's ed, maintenance, grounds, anything that needs fuel goes through our transportation department. The reason we don't have a fuel tank, it was because it had a leak. Luckily, it was caught on time, but we need a new fuel tank. There have been a couple of figures come in for a new fuel tank, a dual tank, one that does diesel and petrol, because we also have a smaller fuel tank which is not diesel, which is the same age as the current large one that sprung a leak, which backs onto the apartments. If for some reason there would be a leak in that, you would have a whole world of hurt because it's going to be an environmental nightmare. ESS director, we have a lady apparently who has applied to be a board member, which is obviously her, she's able to do that. She's a resident, Lindsay Foglio. I just wondered if you'd ever worked with her in Marlborough, because apparently she's from Marlborough. Dr. Hibbs, if you knew her from there at all. Not a lady I know. Going back to drivers, we really need to increase our sub-driver rate. Currently it's $21 an hour. The average around the county is $25, $26. We can't get substitute drivers. We can't get good substitute drivers. We have the drivers that nobody else wants because it's a job. I take pride in the fact that I drive as safely as I can around the district. I'll be coming back on a bus in September, so just watch out for those of you who are out on the road. We need good drivers. It's a good district. I don't want our reputation to drop just because we can't pay our substitutes a decent rate and get some good drivers in here. Cell phone, the new cell phone policy. Do we have a cell phone policy for staff? I know we have one for the students in the classrooms. If there is anything out there that relates to our staff, can you let me have that? Because it's really important that staff understand what we are allowed and not allowed to use our cell phones when and how, whether it's a school bus, because if I've got to tell my students they can't use their cell phones on the way home, there may be a mutiny. Bus roofing, we did ask about looking into possibly roofing the bus yard and using solar to generate some revenue there. Is there a time limit for the response from the attorney concerning the superintendent's contract? I know you said that he was, going to advise you, so, we're rattling on through the school year. We need to get an answer for that, so if, that doesn't need, it needs pushing. And if we return to the black, when
I'm
we
sorry,
return
I
to the
have
black.
to stop you, Mrs.
Okay.
Kozar. You can come up again.
Can I come back?
Sure.
'Cause
It
you'll
helps
miss
when
me.
that beeps for me. I wasn't even looking at it. I was too busy listening to you. So sorry. But you're welcome to come back up again.
Thank you.
Okay. Ms. Healy?
Sorry.
And just beforehand, Mrs. Kozar, I did want to answer some of those questions. I was going to have some of our people. So after this lady speaks, I'm sure Dr. Hibbs has some of the answers, and Mrs. Wechter has some of the answers, and Mrs. Schechter might have an answer. So I'll do that after we listen to the speaker. Sorry, go ahead.
No, that's okay. Good evening, members of the board and Dr. Hibbs. I'm here tonight because what is happening in Washington Township should concern everyone who cares about public education, basic fairness, and following the law. When money gets tight, the answer can't always be to squeeze the staff that you have left and cut programs for the kids. It just ends up hurting our schools and our students. In the past, shaving 15 minutes off full-time staff turned full-time workers into part-time workers just to take away their health benefits and pensions. Now nursing assistants are being dropped to 3.5 hours because we all know health emergencies don't run on a part-time schedule. Guidance counselors are being cut when kids need mental health support the most. You're wiping out German 1 and French 1. The foundations kids need to move to higher level language levels, along with middle school sports and field trips. You can't claim to be a premier school district while taking away basic programs and stripping benefits from the staff who run our buildings. On top of that, a school was left without power for a week, dead phones, unlocked doors, parents kept completely in the dark until day 3. And then we get to governance and legal compliance. Under the School Ethics Act, specifically NJSA 18A 12 through 24B, and the Board Code of Ethics, NJSA 18A 12 through 24 1G, board members are strictly prohibited from using their position to grant unwarranted privileges or advantages to anyone, and they are legally required to maintain strict confidentiality regarding all personnel matters. A committee was specifically formed with the non-conflicted members to evaluate the superintendent, a process where Dr. Hibbs was strictly forbidden from being involved. Yet those private committee meetings were sent to Dr. Hibbs, employees, and the rest of the board committee. Doing that gave Dr. Hibbs early access to his own evaluation and blew up the confidentiality rules. By passing those notes around, the whole evaluation got ruined. The committee isn't independent anymore, and every single board member who got that email has a conflict of interest now. Delaying or avoiding votes doesn't fix this. By law, those who receive that email shouldn't be voting on his personnel matters at all. Washington Township needs to put students and staff first. I'm submitting this written statement for the official record. I request that the board solicitor evaluate whether all the recipients of that leaked confidential committee evaluation minutes carries a conflict of interest under NJSA 18A 12 through 24 and issue a formal determination prior to any vote involving the superintendent's personnel matters. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you. We are working on the legal. Can you address that?
Thank you for your comments. We hear your concerns. We take them seriously. This is a legal issue, and we will review this with, council will be reviewing this with the board and with the committee, and any steps that may be taken in the future will be addressed. But, we're not in a position right now to give you an answer, and that's something that will be addressed in the future.
Okay, we don't have our regular attorney here tonight, and he's aware of some of this, and he will be addressing it, just like we said. But as far as Mrs. Kozer went, I wanted to see if up here, if we could answer about the fuel tank, maybe Mrs. Wechter or Dr. Hibbs, and where we stand for the rate that we give to our substitute bus drivers.
Yeah, those two items I can speak to, and the only thing I can share at this point is that the fuel tank for transportation is a very involved project. It's very expensive, so we're looking at several items. We aren't ready to bring a recommendation to committee, but it will go to our board committees first. And then the same thing with the increase in the subrate. That's going to be discussed in committee.
Plus roofing, solar will not exist in the bus yard, right? Solar.
Correct. Yeah, so solar was not part of the project to do at the bus yard, so we won't be able to resurface the roof there.
Okay. I know that it's election time now, and we're going to start having questions directed at our election, but I think as a board, we're trying to not get involved in any way with election information, so we won't be answering, I assume, any questions that have to do with the election. Correct?
Yes.
Okay, just wanted to make that clear. Also, we agree with, we've already talked about that, about we're reviewing what we're doing with the use of technology. That's a concern of all the board members. The time.
And Janine, I'm sorry, Pat.
Go ahead.
We also did, just to answer part of that, Mrs. Bloom, Janine, no one lost benefits this last budget, correct?
No.
So no benefits were removed, and just to clarify, I didn't receive any information about my evaluation or anything other than just the topics that I requested to be discussed. I went with requests to that committee, and there was nothing there. So when you see what's there, you're going to be very sadly disappointed. I didn't figure out, anything that would have been a secret. There's nothing there. And my evaluation process was done entirely separate, and we met with both Terry and Scott and Elaine, and I was presented my evaluation. And then I was given feedback, and it was the normal process.
Mrs. Schechter, could you go over the SEC timeline again for the public?
I'm not sure I can speak to the SEC's timeline. I will say that I am in frequent connection with Mr. Apisi around the requirements of the deadline right to the end of the year and those pieces. We're working diligently to make sure we're following all processes, which is why we're proactively getting guidance from the SEC. Hopefully, once Mr. PC and the rest of his firm has looked at things, it'll become more clear. I understand it's very frustrating for folks. I was a member of the public last year and I found the wait frustrating, but it is in an effort to try and do things correctly and not, compound any potential issues. So I would just defer to, what our attorney stated earlier.
Thank you. Ms. Whitcraft?
I wrote this earlier, so a lot of things have already been talked about, but I'm reading it anyway. Good evening. I believe the board owes this community some answers. I believe the conduct surrounding the superintendent's contract raises serious concerns under NJSA 18A-1224B. If refusing to bring the superintendent's contract to a vote gives him an unwarranted advantage by allowing his employment status to continue without the board taking action, I want to know how that does not violate this section. Please explain your legal reasoning to the public. I also believe NJSA 18A-1224-1G deserves an explanation. This section requires confidential matters to remain confidential, yet committee minutes were emailed to Dr. Hibbs and members of his staff, even though that committee is responsible for evaluating him. I want to know how that disclosure complies with the board member code of ethics. These violations should conflict the remaining 3 members. Now everybody's conflicted. Well done. The superintendent is also reportedly questioning employees for signing a Board of Education candidate's petition in what appears to be another attempt to electioneer and intimidate employees. If that occurred, it deserves to be investigated, and if wrongdoing is found, it should be reflected in his personnel record. Failing to address conduct like electioneering only erodes public confidence. Our children have less opportunity, fewer activities, fewer programs, and are less worldly during the superintendent's tenure. They are also less safe. We had power failures that left front doors and classrooms unable to lock. Security footage was sent off-site. Counselors are being eliminated while disciplinarians are being added. Nursing assistants are being reduced to 3.5 hours a day. I guess emergencies can be predicted. Will an administrator step in to assist our nurses, or is that devaluing too? And don't forget closing the district for a holiday that should have been observed the week before. No communication went out to families. Children were left without buses. Families arrived to locked doors with "sorry, we're closed" signs on them when they came for ESY and summer camps. This should also be reviewed, and if appropriate, under district policy, reflected in the superintendent's performance evaluation and within his file. Special needs families are used to being disregarded no matter how much they fight, but this time it affected more than just them. Does anyone even recognize this district anymore? I understand our regular solicitor is not here tonight, and I do not expect a legal opinion this evening. However, by the first meeting in August, I expect the public to receive a response explaining the legal position regarding the 3 members who self-conflicted themselves. And that after finding out whether all 9 members are indeed conflicted, someone better figure out a lawful way for the doctrine of necessity to be invoked so all 9 elected members can vote on matters concerning the superintendent. As it stands, 3 people are preventing 67% of this township from having a voice. How much more unethical can it get? That's not a challenge.
Thank you, Ms. Whitcraft. Ms. Morris?
Good evening, Board of Ed and Dr. Hibbs. I, too, wrote this before a lot of what was discussed already, but I think that it's important for it to be read anyway. We mentioned the doctrine of necessity tonight. I just want to make sure everybody understands what that is. It's a legal principle that allows for the justification of actions that would otherwise be unlawful when those actions are taken to prevent a greater harm or protect the public interest. And this is an exception to the law usually invoked in grave emergencies. Voters elected 9 people, so 9 people should get to vote on whether to renew Dr. Hibbs' contract or not. Hibbs must be notified of his non-renewal by December 30th, or his contract is duplicated for another 4 years. In that time, he will earn over $1 million. How is this fiscally responsible when we're cutting programs like clubs and sports, increasing class sizes, and firing support staff, guidance counselors, nurses assistants, etc.? Regardless of whether you like Dr. Hibbs or not, 3 people should not hold the power to determine his contract for the entire Washington Township community. Now, I understand that those 3 Board of Ed members are conflicted because the Vice President sent the minutes of the committee meeting formed to evaluate the superintendent to the entire Board of Ed. Under the Code of Ethics for School Board of Ed members, 18A 12-241G, it states that they will hold confidential all matters pertaining to the schools, which if disclosed would needlessly injure individuals or the schools. Therefore, by law, every Board of Ed member who received this email are now conflicted and should not be voting on his personnel matters at all. By sending that email, Hibbs received early access to his own evaluation, which gives him an unfair advantage. In addition, if we don't invoke the doctrine of necessity, we are giving Hibbs unwarranted privileges, advantages, or employment for himself, which violates the School Ethics Commission Prohibited Acts, 18A 12-24B. I know that our regular solicitor is not here tonight, so obviously we're not going to get an answer, and we already heard that. But we would expect an answer for the public about this prior to any vote involving the superintendent personnel matters. Thank you for your time.
Thank you, Ms. Morris. Next is Ms.
Pat, it's come up a couple times. Lucas, please interrupt me.
Oh,
Can I use the same example I used in executive about what was attached, or would you prefer we wait for a full update? Okay. More to come.
Okay. Next is Ms. Ty, and Ms. Ty, I appreciate you putting the correct spelling next to your name. That was very, very helpful. Thank you.
Good evening. My name is Barbara Ty. I'm the 12-month secretary at the high school, and I'm the secretarial VP on the WTEA Executive Board. Tonight I'm speaking on behalf of our district secretaries. Item 68 on this evening's agenda recommends the appointment of a 10-month secretary at Bells Elementary. The recommendation requests that the individual be hired at step 7 of the salary guide to compensate for previous experience. Our district salary guide is structured so that all newly hired secretaries begin at step 1. This ensures consistency, fairness, and equity for all individuals entering the district while also establishing seniority within the district. Prior work experience is not considered when determining the starting step of a secretary on the salary guide. Regardless of whether an individual has experience in another school district, the corporate sector, or another field, all new hires begin at step 1. Regardless of the secretarial position an individual takes in the district, they begin at step 1 of the salary guide. This has been applied consistently in the past. For example, clerical employees who were later hired into the secretarial positions began at step 1, despite their prior years of service to the district. Likewise, external secretarial candidates with experience from other school districts or in the private sector also began at step 1, as their previous years of service were not factored into their starting salary. They were hired at step 1 with the knowledge that their experience would allow them to be successful. If we start prospective secretaries at a higher step than another secretary who has been in the district for 5 years, how is this equitable? How is it equitable to any of the secretaries in the district who have dedicated their time and worked their way up on the salary guide? The district's consistent application of this practice ensures equitable treatment of all newly hired secretaries and preserves the integrity of the salary guide and the seniority system established. We are currently facing a significant budget crisis. We have the opportunity to fill this secretarial position with qualified candidates who would begin at step 1. Instead, approval is being requested to hire an individual at step 7, which represents a substantially higher salary. Given our current financial constraints, it is important to carefully consider whether this higher salary is justified. On tonight's agenda, we also have 2 internal employees who are being transferred to 2 different secretarial positions within the district. They are both starting at step 1 of the secretarial salary guide. It is important that we continue to maintain the practice of hiring our secretaries to begin at step 1 and preserve the integrity of the salary guide and the seniority system. I respectfully request that you consider all of this information when making a decision on item 68 tonight. Don't set a precedence that you can erase. Show your dedicated secretaries that you value them by doing the right thing. Thank you for your time and consideration.
Thank you, Ms. Ty. Okay.
Hi, Barb. So, for everybody here, sometimes we have to make recommendations with experience. I don't think it's a good practice to talk about specific people, but when there's a hire, I have to make a recommendation on the guide. So I completely agree that there's times where if you move from, for instance, I think you mentioned clerical to a secretary, that step one would be appropriate. But there's also times, across all of our employees, that experience should matter. And then there's other things outside of experience that are also valuable as well. That doesn't mean that we don't really respect and value all of our secretaries at all. It's not what it means at all. I mean, all of our other groups do this. So it's not as if every teacher starts at step one. We value and honor experience. And that was the recommendation I made for hopefully an employee.
Okay. Ms. Renzetti?
Good evening. My name is April Renzetti. I am the re-elected Executive Vice President for the WTEA, 30-year veteran special ed teacher, and I also hold the Special Education Liaison Chair for the WTEA. The reason I'm here is because I've had numerous people during ESY basically beg for me to come and speak and to try to get compensation on the day that we all lost. Mrs. Bloom, I appreciate your apology, but if you look under federal law, and I will read it, under U.S. federal law, when a national holiday falls on a weekend, it is shifted to a weekday. Saturday holidays are observed on the preceding Friday, and Sunday holidays are observed on the following Monday. The salary employees still got their normal paycheck. Your hourly employees who work ESY lost a day. Okay? So where most of us, me included, I've already asked my supervisor if there's compensation for monies we put out of our own pocket. There is not. We were told there is no money. So all of the water, the snacks, and the additional items I paid out of my pocket, I don't get compensated for, but I lost a day's pay. If we followed federal law, that wouldn't have been an issue. I was here the last meeting, and I heard Ms. Miller say the district was closed. That had no bearing on whether or not the students could have been here. I had a parent reach out through text and through email. Hi, Ms. Renzetti. I'm in the parking lot. Is ESY not happening today? I thought my son missed his bus, so I drove him. No one's here. Can you help me? I apologized on behalf of the district, and I said, I am so sorry you were not notified. They're observing 4th of, and I said they, because that wasn't our call. That was an administration call, Board of Ed call. I said, they are observing 4th of July. We will begin tomorrow. Please accept my apologies. Can you please mention and talk about this at the next board meeting that you attend, because I can't bring myself to the podium, but this was incredibly inconvenient for me and my family. So I said, excuse me, I said I will do that. The rest of the people that I've been working with, including and other schools that I'm not with at the high school, said, since they decided to not follow law, is there anything they can do to give us the day that we lost? So my question, I'm hoping for an answer from all of you, is that day that was lost by the hourly employees for ESY, pre-K through high school, could not be added to the last voucher so that they can be compensated for the day that was taken away from them. Thank you.
Thank you, Mrs. Renzetti. I don't know whether or not we can have any legal advice on that.
I can talk to Nick and then.
Okay, this is something else, Ms. Renzetti, that we will talk to our other regular attorney about. Thank you. And
I have a question for the attorney.
Sure.
If the laws, what was cited was the law. Does that have relevance here?
In terms of giving compensation for that day, that's I'd have to talk with Nick about that and get you an answer for that.
Thank you.
Yeah, I apologize.
Okay. Mrs. Lanuti.
I had a question about the extended ESY approval on the agenda. I've asked about it a couple of times. It now just got approved for tonight from August 10th to August 20th. but extended ESY should be going to August 28th. There are students in the district that have 12 days of extended ESY in their IEP, mine included. So I wanted to know why extended ESY is only approved until August 20th and what happened to the third week. And April was right about the monetary loss of August 6th, but like I stated the first time I talked about it, our kids lost out on a day of school and routine, and sports camp was closed too because the whole district was closed. So there was 150 kids that lost out on that. But now we just talked about the one day of missing ESY, but now a whole week of ESY got just cut out of the agenda tonight for my kid. And I'm not sure who else this affected by it now only being approved until August 20th. Just a comment about the township buses going to Riggins. Has any, and I don't know if this is possible or not, but our community, like our municipality, has fuel tanks at Public Works, fire department, police department, all township vehicles. The MUA is contracted with there, even though they're not municipal, they go there for fuel. Can the district make an agreement with the town to do that? I don't know if like I said, I don't know if it's a thing, but can it be an agreement with the town instead of going to Riggins? It was just an idea that I thought of if that was ever talked about. And you guys were talking about chirp phones earlier and cell phone service and made a comment about in the buildings that don't have any cell service, where it's a dead zone and there's quite a few of them, that they would work there. Last year, and I think at a more previous meeting, I asked about an update for it as well, because last year, Dr. Hibbs, you had mentioned that there was some talk, I don't know if it was Verizon or whoever it was going to be enhancing the service or tower, or whatever it is, specifically at Birch's, and I forget the other 3 schools that were discussed, that it should rectify the problem of being a dead zone. I previously asked for an update on that. I didn't get one, and tonight, since it was brought up again, I figured I would also bring it up to see where we're at with that, because it is an ongoing safety concern. The chirp phones are great with the administrators and teachers, but if there's really a safety concern and no teachers or students or staff have access to a mobile device, that is a huge safety concern. So thanks.
Thank you, Mrs. Lanuti. To the one question?
Yeah,
Mrs.
sure. So ESY is broken down basically into program and services. So services are defined within the student's IEP, and then we also have students who receive just programs. Some students, as identified in the IEP, receive program and additional time within services. So that's the most I really can say on that, because it is individualized and it's specified in the IEP.
Okay, thank you.
Ms. Bloom?
Yes.
I just, for clarification for myself, I'm trying to find on the agenda, is it spelled out that at one point it was to August 28th and now it's changed to August 20th? Is that what I'm hearing? No? It was always August 20th?
So program ran 5 weeks. That's what happened this year. So we extended the program at various levels for 1 additional week. But we also, which is, and when you actually do the math in terms of hours, that would be reflected in IEP. But some are saying program, which is correct. But we also have students who receive services. So we have students who receive services for a variety of reasons, some for academics, some for emotional support, and some for additional hours for their needs as specified in the IEP. That could take students further into the month of August, but it's specified in the IEP. So the program you approved for 5 weeks, that's on the board agenda. And that actually, this coming week is the last week. Next week.
Just a follow-up question, if I had a child and it said how much service they should have had,
In
Do
the
we have to
IEP.
provide that?
In the IEP. If it says, whatever is in the IEP is what we would provide, yes.
Okay, so it's provided.
Yes, absolutely.
Okay.
I just wanted to address real quick about the fuel tank. We did talk to the municipality to see if we could utilize theirs, and they just wouldn't be able to handle our volume.
Okay. We all right?
So, yes, we did explore boosters. Verizon and George did a great job with that. AT&T. We do not have one from AT&T. The concept of T-Mobile it was used because they permeate a lot more because they bought Sprint. So yes, we definitely tried to address all the dead zones. I don't want to go any further because I don't think we should talk about this on camera, just for safety issues.
Okay. Okay, may I have you're finished too, right, Mrs. Lee? May I have a motion to close to the public? Second?
Second.
Okay. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Now we're going to move on to the report of the superintendent. We have a motion and a second to approve report of the superintendent items 1 through 6. But I think under the discussion, we were maybe going to have more discussion of item 6, Dr. Hibbs?
I think we just need to amend the calendar.
Okay, yes.
And that would be to remove the February 15th from the equation of a day of makeup.
Okay, so that will be noted in the minutes. Is that enough, or do we don't have to vote on it?
To move it along. I make a motion to approve items 1 through 6, with number 6 being approved as is, or not as is, but with the addition of February 15th, schools closed.
Okay, can I have a second?
Second.
Is that a roll call, or is that a roll call? Okay.
Discussion.
Discussion, go ahead.
Can you clarify what the amendment is again?
Yeah.
So the amendment here is currently the snow day takebacks would be Thursday, June 17th, first, and then after that, you would move to Monday, Monday, February 15th, which is President's Day, which is the day we're talking about.
Yep.
And then you would go to Friday, April 2nd, Thursday, April 1st, Wednesday, March 31st, and Tuesday, March 30th, not going to Holy Monday. So what this is doing, what this motion is doing, it's pulling the second day out, so it would then go directly from Thursday, June 17th to Friday, April 2nd. And that would leave, I think it's 1, 2, 3, it's 5 days in before you actually tack on to go to the next week.
So if you're looking at the calendar, right, and it's the only thing on page 2, like the only thing that will be changing on this version is in like the second line on the second page under snow emergency days, you're just going to remove Monday, February 15th.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes.
And we'll send a blast to the community letting them know what the changes were, so they don't have to dig through the calendar. We'll make sure that they get that as well.
Okay, any other discussions? Okay, we have the roll call.
Mrs. Baker?
Yes.
Mrs. Clancy?
Yes.
Ms. Kazempel?
Yes.
Mr. LaLiberty?
Yes.
Mrs. Schechter?
Yes.
Mrs. Bloom?
Yes. Motion carries. Instructional affairs, a motion and a second to approve instructional affair item 1.
Motion to approve item 1.
Second.
Discussion.
Just to be clear, and I believe I know it was in the confidential memo, but there's no cost to this, right?
No.
Yeah.
No. Okay, roll call?
Mrs. Clancy?
Yes.
Ms. Kazempel?
Yes.
Mr. LaLiberty?
Yes.
Mrs. Schechter?
Yes.
Mrs. Baker?
Yes.
Mrs. Bloom?
Yes. Okay, under policy, I need a motion and a second to approve policy items 1 through 14.
Motion to approve items 1 through 14 for first reading?
Second.
Discussion? Okay, I just wanted to say that I had a conversation or an email from someone in the community that made a good suggestion that Dr. Hibbs has helped me with this month, that when we get to the policies, I think sometimes people are thinking that there's something new that we're adding, and 9 times out of 10, they aren't new policies, they're policies that we have to update. And every school in the state is updating them. So that's the case for this time, Dr. Hibbs?
Except for the last one.
And that was the one that had to do with the devices, correct?
No, that was the one that had to do with the board meeting participation.
Okay, okay. So from now on, we're going to try to help you out with that so that before we vote, you know whether or not it's something new, something revised, and that will help you have a better understanding of what we're voting on. Okay, anybody else? Roll call.
Ms. Kazemple?
Yes.
Mr. LaLiberty?
Yes.
Mrs. Schechter?
Yes.
Mrs. Baker?
Yes.
Mrs. Clancy?
Yes.
Mrs. Bloom?
Yes. Under motion carries. Under student activities, communications, motion and a second to approve student activities, communications, items 1 and 2.
Motion to approve items 1 and 2?
Second.
Discussion? All right, seeing no discussion, roll call.
Mr. LaLiberty?
Yes.
Mrs. Schechter?
Yes.
Mrs. Baker?
Yes.
Mrs. Clancy?
Yes.
Ms. Kazemple?
Yes.
Mrs. Bloom?
Yes. Okay, motion carries. Moving on to human resources. Before we do that, I'd like to congratulate, we have 2 retirees this month. We have Paul Furtaw, who's a custodian at the Township High School, and he's been with us for 12 years. And we have Joy Piddington at Bells Elementary School. She's been in our district for 31 years, and we want to wish both of these people that worked in the district all the best in their retirement, and congratulations on the retirement. Okay, I need a motion and a second to approve human resources items 1 through 68.
Motion?
Second.
Discussion?
Yeah.
Yeah. I will be abstaining from number 37.
Okay.
I just wonder if we need to table number 68 based on Barb's comments, because I don't really fully understand what she was saying about the steps and stuff.
I agree.
Can we do that?
I feel like at this point I'd have to abstain.
Yeah, I agree.
Or we simply abstain, that's up to,
So then, what do we do? Lucas? Do we just amend the motion to be 1 through 67, or do we vote to table that?
Can amend it to be 1 through 67.
Okay.
We have 5 votes have to be a yes vote to pass, correct? It's a personnel issue.
Yes. Yep.
So I agree with Mrs. Zempel that we table it.
Yeah, just till the next meeting, yeah. Okay, so I'm amending the motion
Okay.
to table number 68?
yes.
And vote on 1 through 67. Also taking note that we will be approving under the transfers our new athletic director, hopefully, who's sitting in the back, Mr. Prasante. It's not listed as an appointment, it's in here under a transfer just for people in the audience, so.
Okay.
Motion.
Do we need to do anything other? We just took that off 68?
Do we
We
need
can vote on
just
1
one
through
second?
Yes, okay. Well,
I second Julie's motion to amend.
all in favor?
So it should be 1 through 67.
Yes.
Well, I think this is just for the amended, right?
Yeah, just 1 through 67. We're not voting on 68.
Okay.
I just amended the motion. He said no, he said just amend the motion. Yeah.
What do we have to vote?
Right.
Yeah,
67.
67.
Okay.
Any other thing that we have to do? Okay,
1 through 67.
all right. So we're going to do the roll call on numbers 1 through 67.
Okay.
Mrs. Schechter?
Yes.
Mrs. Baker?
Yes.
Mrs. Clancy?
Yes to 1 through 36, abstain 37, and yes to the rest.
Mr. LaLiberty?
Yes.
Let's go back up. Ms. Kazempel?
Yes. To all.
Mrs. Bloom?
Yes. Motion, all of them carry.
Yeah.
Okay, congratulations. Congratulations. Okay.
I move to approve finance items 1 through 26.
Actually, we're going to,
Oh, sorry.
we're going to motion second to approve finance facility items 1 through 17 and 19 through 26.
Oh, that's right.
Do I have a,
I amend my motion to make it to approve items 1 through
17 and then 19.
17, skipping 18, and 19 through 26.
okay, second?
Second.
Do we have any discussion?
Yeah, I just have one thing. I'm going to be a no on 26, and just to explain my vote. It's not that I don't think it's a good proposal or anything, just in my view, and not that we don't need a strategic plan, but the last strategic plan I don't think we did anything with. I think we're in a tough fiscal situation now, trying to save whatever money we can, and I think the input would be good, but there might be a better way of doing that cheaper with just surveys and whatnot, so I'm going to be a no.
Okay, any other discussion?
You could read our goal if you want.
Well, it is part of, strategic planning is part of our goal 3 that we will be talking about at the end of August,
Yeah.
just so the public knows.
I think it's a valuable program. I am concerned about the cost factor, but I will vote for it because it's something that we do need to carry forth with.
Okay. Any other discussion?
Yeah, I think I would just say, as a committee, we took that fiscal responsibility very carefully, and we did work with administration to confirm while it wasn't budgeted, we do feel that there is money to cover the cost.
And basically, I think we feel that we haven't really done anything like this since COVID, and your voices need to be heard, and this is a good way to hear from our staff, our students, and our community, and really take that to heart and keep that in mind as we're making goals and decisions for the district. So that was the rationale that we came up with in our committee. Okay, anybody else?
And, again, I brought this up before to the people here and people watching. We all have email addresses, board email addresses. I'd like to hear from you. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Is that all the discussion that we have? Okay. Roll call?
Mrs. Baker?
Yes.
Mrs. Clancy?
Yes.
Ms. Kazempel?
Yes.
Mr. LaLiberty?
No to 26, yes to the rest.
Mrs. Schechter?
Yes.
Mrs. Bloom?
Yes, yes. Motion carries. Special education, motion and second to approve special education items 1 through 3.
Motion to approve?
Second? Anybody? Okay, any discussion? Okay, could we have the roll call, please?
Mrs. Clancy?
Yes.
Ms. Kazemple?
Yes.
Mr. LaLiberty?
Yes.
Mrs. Schechter?
Yes.
Mrs. Baker? Yes. Mrs. Bloom?
Yes. Motion carries. Under negotiations, we do not have anything. Under new business, I'm asking if anybody with the board has any new business to discuss tonight. Really? You sure? Okay. We'll move on. Are you sure? It's very unusual. Open to the public. May I have a motion to open the meeting to the public?
So moved.
Second? Okay, all in favor? Aye. Motion carries. All right, so at this point, we will start with these cards. I'd like to start with Mrs. Kozar. You can finish up from where you ended last time.
All right, good evening again, everyone. Chrissy Kozar, Washington Township Support. I only missed a few things, so I shouldn't be too long. If and when we return into the black, can we expect to return our school programs, staffing and hours that give back the pensions and benefits to our members? That would be my first question. I think it's really important. I know that once they've gone, they've usually gone. Time to set a new trend. We have far too many staff here that have dedicated their lives to the students of this district and taken a low-paying job because this is where they want to work, and the students are the ones that they care for, and I believe that they should be compensated with at least a pension and at least some benefits. And I know the benefits costing is an issue, especially with 35% increases this year. I also believe that we all should be fighting and contacting legislators and getting somebody to come up with a plan that doesn't cost us this much. This is definitely a way of getting rid of our lower paid employees because they just go somewhere else because they can't afford to work here anymore. And it's a shame because they're the ones that care for the students. I think I'm going into my 21st year of working for the district. I love working for this district most of the time. I drive a school bus, as you know, and I'm coming back to it after several years of being out doing other things for the union. It's important to me that we portray an image of professionalism. I think we do. As part of that, I'm going to revisit the cost that we pay our substitute drivers. I want good drivers in this district. I don't want people that nobody else want to employ. We need good drivers in this district. We need the people that are going to care for the students that they carry every day, that have good driving records, that want to stay here and be here 21 years like I've been here 21 years. We can only do this if we offer them a decent pay. I know that this issue's going into committee, the same as the fuel tank issue, but I believe it's been in committee for several years, 3-4 years. We have to come up with an answer to this. It's not an ideal situation. I want to work with professionals when I come back in September. You know, we don't want the township complaining that they don't think that their drivers are safe. Our drivers are safe. Our drivers are very well trained. They're highly trained. But in order to get that level of staffing, we have to pay the substitutes in order to get them into a full-time position when there is one become available. So I would like to reiterate how important that giving them at least an average of what the county pays their staff, needs looking at. So thank you.
Thank you, Mrs. Kozar. I'm sure that the pension and the benefits is a wish list for many of us up here. We really wish that that's something that we could do, but we'll put it in there with the other things on that list And I know that you're going back to driving the buses. And I remember you at kindergarten, the kindergarten complex. Let me tell you, she was a wonderful bus driver, and the kids just love seeing her. So I hope you have that impact, and good luck when you go back in September. Thank you.
Hey, Pat, just to,
Yes.
I just want to say, I thought, Chris, you brought up a great point about the legislature, right? I mean, there's only so much we can do locally. We're stuck with a 2% cap on what we can raise for taxes and what we can move around in the budgets, but I think Trenton is where, more emphasis needs to go, and that's a great point.
I had that written down too, and I know, Mrs. Kozar, you're very active in Trenton, and we appreciate that as well.
I
Anyone
just
else?
wanted to point out, because I think we did talk about the substitute bus driver rates in committee, and also just to the, Ms. Kozar's point, our benefit rates did not actually go up as much because we're not in the state. So right now that's a benefit to us. So while it's a super important issue, and I agree, state advocacy, and I'm right there with you emailing my representation about it. Luckily for Washington Township, our JIF is outperforming the state plan.
Okay. Anybody else? Yeah. Okay, thank you. Mrs. Lanuti?
Every time I come up here and ask about extended ESY, Ms. Miller, you deflect to regular ESY. It is two very different things for people who are unaware. You did approve 5 weeks of ESY. If in a child's IEP, they get ESY, they go to that 5 weeks. Extended ESY does exist in this district, although a lot of parents are told, we don't do that here. Yes, you absolutely do. And if you can't do it here, you need to send that child to a summer program where they can do it because that's what that child needs. Extended ESY has nothing to do with the 5 weeks of ESY you approved. As an example, because I don't know how many other children this affects, my child's IEP, when you said, if it's in an IEP, as Ms. Baker asked, are you compliant? And you said, yes, of course. That's a lie. Tonight, you are approving 8 days of extended ESY. In my child's IEP, and again, I don't know how many others, her IEP states 5 weeks of ESY and 12 days extended ESY. So by approving tonight, August 10th to August 20th, you directly violated at least one child's IEP. But you wouldn't know that unless you were told, which is why I'm standing here for the second time. And this is actually not just the second time I've stood up here and asked about extended ESY. I've asked about this multiple times this year because it didn't get approved to tonight. And now we're only a couple weeks away from the start of it. When it starts, the first week of August is the last week of regular ESY. Extended ESY starts the following week. So now we're this close to it being started when somebody should have just said to me, we can't do that here, and you would have had to go find a place that could, because now my child is now just got cut out of another week of school. There are other parents, like I said, in this district that got told that extended ESY got cut out for everybody this year, and no, it didn't, if you're listening, because my child just got approved tonight. I think everybody needs to fix this.
Okay.
So I'm always willing to talk. If Nicole, if you would like to call my office, absolutely. Teachers return on the 25th, and we have extended hours in some cases for the 2 weeks after our program runs. So I can't speak about specific IEPs, regardless of, if a parent chooses to do that. Absolutely, I respect that, but I cannot. So more than happy to have that conversation, but I just want to be sure the board understands there's been no case that I'm aware of where somebody has been told we don't do that. Regardless, I'm always available if parents wish to call, but I just want you to be clear that we have 2 weeks in which to operate any type of additional hours, and then teachers return on the 25th. And then we're closed on the 28th. I heard the date, the 28th, earlier. So always willing to have the conversation.
So
Okay?
you're saying there are only 8 school days after extended school year ends before the teachers come back, and that's why you can't do the 12? Is that what I'm hearing?
No, I can't speak to specific IEPs.
Okay.
That I can't do. But what
Okay.
I am saying is, we ran our program through the first week of August, so next week. And then we have 2 more weeks to
Okay.
work with if any child is eligible for any type of additional hours, even if they've attended a program. So some students attend a program and have some additional hours. Some students just have hours and don't attend a program. It really depends on the student and the IEP. But we have those 2 weeks. Our teachers return on the 25th. I believe earlier there was a conversation about the 28th. I wrote that down, and maybe I misheard that, but the 25th is when our staff comes back.
All right.
So
But the
I can,
things that we-
I'm more than happy
Annette,
to
can
talk
I
to any
ask a
parent who
question about
calls.
that? So
Okay.
it seems like the things we voted on, like what's listed on the agenda just says like extended school year program revised, like number 25. But when you read what it says, it's really just like one teacher doing one thing. So-
Individualized.
Right, okay. And so the 3 things that are on here are not like programmatic. They're just individual people. That's what I thought I was voting on. I just
Right.
want to be sure.
Right.
Okay.
Right.
Okay. Yes, Mrs. Baker.
Okay, Mrs. Bloom, how can we make this whole, okay? We have a documented IEP that put down days. I'm not talking about you specific. I'm just saying, have an IEP that says you're going to get X amount of service, and we don't have the days now because the teachers are coming back. Can they have homebound or something like that to make up those hours?
I think that's an administration.
I'd have to clarify, we can't talk about individual IEPs regardless of who brings a concern forward. What I'm saying is I'm more than happy to speak to the parent or any parent who has a question, but I'm not, I believe, it is my opinion that we are fine in terms of the hours we've offered. And I can't speak beyond that because I'm in a difficult situation because I cannot speak about individual IEPs.
Okay,
So-
thank you.
I'm
Thank
just
you.
saying as a board member, I want everybody to be whole. That's it.
Okay.
Well, maybe we can bring it back to committee and maybe something that Annette can, summarize in committee. Yeah, explain it again.
Because it sounds like we're not really understanding, but that's not your fault, it's just because that's not our expertise. Okay. Okay. Yeah, could I have a motion to close to the public?
So moved.
Second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries.
Motion to adjourn the meeting?
Second.
Okay. All in favor?
Aye.
Motion carried. Thank you for coming, everyone.